on your own, have at it. I do like to, when I'm doing order of operations, go and circle what I'm going to do first. I'm going to do this exponent first. 3 to the third power, that's not 9, that's 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27. Now let's get everything else all caught up. So I didn't really have any parentheses. I got the exponent. Let's do a multiply and divide. Right here, 7 times 4, that's 28. Look to see, are there any more multiply and divide? There are. That's 4. And then I had some of you jump ahead and do 27 plus 4. Remember left to right? Left to right. So you're really looking at 1 plus 4 is 5 for a final answer. 1 plus 4 will make 5. 2a is y a function of x. Look at your x's. There aren't any x's being repeated. You can't use pronouns like it. You can't say no numbers are repeated. Because there very well could be y's that are repeated. It's the x's that can't be repeated. They could all have the same y and still be a function. 3c. Let's look at 3c. Domain. That's your top row. That's your m's. And you want to list them one at a time. List them one at a time. Some of you, I just tried to change your rounded brackets to the fancy, curvy, swooshy brackets. Kind of a notation that you use a list. It's the fancy brackets. Number 4. The vertical line test. Vertical line test is any place on your graph, draw a vertical line. If that vertical line hits your graph more than once, if the same vertical line hits your graph more than once, then it's not a function. 5. We need to look at 5. Y equals 3 over x squared minus 25. What values are not acceptable? That's another way of saying domain. Okay? And denominators can't total up to be 0. You can't have this problem. You can't do 3 divided by 0. So this x squared minus 5 is not allowed to total up to be 0. So that means the x cannot be a 5. X cannot be a negative 5. Because look what would happen if I put a negative 5 in here. Negative 5 times negative 5 makes 25. Minus 25 would total up to be 0. Number 6. For the domain. This was a tricky one. This was a tricky question. It did trick some of you. I think you were concentrating on the square root sign. And you were thinking, hey, you can't take the square root of a negative number. But what you're going to do first is whatever that number you pick, you're going to square it. What happens when you square a number? Does it become positive? Could it be negative? Could it be 0? If you square a number, what automatically happens to it? It'll always be a positive or 0, right? So no matter what number you pick for x, the first thing you're going to do is square it, and it's now positive. And you can't take the square root of a positive. So 6a is anything you want it to be. Any real number. 6b, though, that's your answers. Will the answer to a square root ever be negative? When you take the square root, never? Never, never, never? That's right, it never will be. And so your range for 6b, it could be anything as long as it's greater than or equal to 0. It'll never be negative. If you wanted to write all non-negative numbers, that'd be okay too. 7a, if you showed your work, is 25. 7b, you're going to get 11. I know what to do. We need to work 7b. I remember seeing a lot of lost negatives and extra negatives. 7b, that's a good one.
Just fascinating, before you go on to that 6b, the range, all real numbers would be correct because it's squared, correct? Because the negative times the negative makes it a positive anyways?
But you'll never, so we're talking about 6b, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we've got y equals the square root of x squared, when I do this, when I take the square root of anything, when you take the square root, do you ever get negatives? Never get negatives. Lots of you had all real numbers. That's a good start. But like type anything you want to in your calculator right now. So we're talking about the answer. Anything that you're able to answer. Take the square root of anything you can think of. You can do the square root of pi if you want to. And tell me if you're ever able to get it to say negative something. And if so, I want to see it. Because I'm going to pay you money if you can make the calculator do that. If you can make that calculator do the square root of something where it gives you a negative for an answer, I'm going to give you cash money. I have any money here. What cookies do? I have cookies in the cupboard, but I don't have any money. You can't do this. You can't do this problem. You know, you can't do negative 16. You can't do the square root of a negative 16. But that's this stuff inside of here. That'd be your domain. But when it's time to do the answer of something you can do, the square root of 16 is 4. But the square root of 0 is 0. You're never going to get a negative as an output. All right, 7b. What are you using for your input on 7b? How much? Uh-huh. I think here's what some of you typed. I love those calculators. I think you went 2 times negative 4 squared plus 4 times negative 4 minus 5. And that fancy $100 calculator gave you a wrong answer if you did that. Because of this. Right? You've got to square the whole thing. If you don't put it in parentheses, it squares your 4, calls that 16, and then slaps the negative, and then you did 2 times negative 16 and got negative 32, and that caused a problem. Well, how much is negative 4 if you square it? Positive 16. 2 times a positive 16 means you should have started out with a positive 32 there, and then a negative 16, and then a negative 5. Watch your calculators. The brain is better. It sounds like we better do 7c too. 7c. Got the same problem again. 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. What are we going to use for x? A half. As long as you're writing out what you're going to type into your calculator, use it. That's showing your work. If you write out what you're typing, that is showing your work. And so, you can just type this, 2 times, there's no negative to worry about. Your fancy calculators don't like half. 0.5 squared plus 4 times 0.5 minus 5, and you'll get through. Should have got negative 2.5 for this one, or negative 5/2. If you try it again, you still don't get it, Mr. Stoddard, or I'll help you. Okay, flip it over to the back. 9a. Should have got a 36 out of that. You know what happened with that negative 3? When you went to square it, I bet, you didn't put it in parentheses. So it didn't square the negative. I bet that's it. And I bet that you got 9b right, because there's not any negatives. And you know what, I bet it happened to you on 9C, some of you, if you're a calculator lover. If you didn't put that -5 in parentheses before you squared it, you'd end up with a -25 and then a -50, and then the rest of it's just not right. So, negative, they're gonna need to go in parentheses. Oh, 10, there's a good one. If you didn't practice on your review sheets, you didn't get this number 10 right. That was easy to tell who took time with their review sheet. The f of x equals 3x minus 12. Find x when the s of x equals 36. Look, it doesn't say x is 36. The answer after you use x is 36. Look, it says replace this with 36. Replace this with 36. Don't put 36 in here. Replace this with 36 and then solve for x. Number 11 is a no. Do you see those repeated 5s? Okay, can't do that. Got a couple x's being paired up 2 different ways. A, 12a, does it pass the vertical line test? Yes, so it's a function. How about B? No. Okay, then we had some trouble down here, and it was pretty much the same trouble everywhere. Domain. Is that left, right, or bottom, top? Domain. Or is it your x's or your y's? That's another way some people think about it. It's your x's. So you got to go left, right. Left, right. What's to the left? Negatives or positives? So you got to list the negatives first. See how we corrected stuff on there for a lot of it? You just had them switched. You got to go left answer first, then right answer. And then on your range, same thing. You got to go bottom up. What's down at the bottom? Positives or the negatives? Negative. So you got to give the negative part first, and then the positive. Let's look at the range for 13b. The range 13b. How low does 13b go ever? Negative infinity. How high does it go? 0. So it's negative infinity to 0. 13b, negative infinity to 0, touches the 0, so it's a square bracket. And that's it. You can keep this. Don't need quizzes back. Tests we collect back. Quizzes, you keep them. Those are great things to keep for a test coming up someday. Great things to keep.
Mr. Slaughter.
Alrighty, let's go to our notebook. Let's go to our notebook, page 15 and 16. Page 15 and 16. Let's go over to page 15. I am hoping that we get 4 really good, we'll work them together, examples of this finished over here so you can see how these tabs work. So as you're writing them, try to keep in mind we're going to work 4 questions over here on the left so that you have stuff to follow what we're doing on the right. Over there, we're just going to do 4 over there. Because I want you writing out lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. So you can have 1/4 of a page. So we're on page 15. And your first one is 3y plus 60 equals 5y plus 42. Now, let's use our chart. Once you got it written down, first tab says look at the equation. Are there any grouping symbols?
No.
No. Okay. Go to the back. No. What does it say? Go all the way to the back. No, and it says, read it to me.
Go to the next step.
What's that?
Go to the next step.
Yeah, it says there are no grouping symbols, go to the next step. So we move down a tab. It says look at each side of the equation. Are there like terms on the left side? Are there like terms on the right side?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like terms.
3.
3y, 5y.
Here's the left. Here's the right. Like terms mean they can be combined.
No.
Yeah, these are y's, these are numbers, they're not like. These are y's, these are numbers. So, when it says, are there like terms on the right side, on the left? No, if you go back and read the note, it obviously says, go to the next step. So we're third tap down. Do you have variables on both sides of the equal sign? Variables on both sides of the equal sign? Yes, we do. So go to the yes tab. And tell me, what's it say? What's it say under the yes of that tab, third one down? Choose the variable with the smaller coefficient and undo that. So smaller coefficient,
So you do 3y minus 5y.
the 3y is the smaller one, right? And here's the way I see it. These 3y's are positive 3y's. How do we undo positive 3y? Subtract 3y. Okay, you finally get to write something in your book. You finally get to write this step. Subtract 3y from both sides. And now we got a 60 equals 2y plus 42. Yeah, and you know what comes next. You know, it would say, choose, do you have a constant added? I'm on the fourth tab down. Do you have a constant? Constants are just basically a way of saying numbers, numbers only. You got a constant on both sides? Yes, right here it is. And so let's go undo that, add 42. Let's subtract 42, both sides. So there's a 2y, 60 minus 42 is 18. And yeah, I don't think you need the tab to help you with what comes next. It is, y is 9. How certain are you that y equals 9? How certain are you about that?
Pretty certain.
That's right. You could think somebody in here would have caught a mistake, but if you put that back in, back up here, 3 times 9, 27, plus 60, 5 times 9, 45, plus 42. Yes. Okay, next question. Number.
That constant down, that's a synonym, for like numbers.
Constant. That might be a good words worth knowing. Uh-huh.
Number
Let's
one,
do
those
that.
kind of math terms that kind of trip you up when you're taking a test.
Go to words worth knowing. Think that'd be a good one to put in there. Flip to words worth knowing. Constant. I think that would be a good one. Constant. Numbers only. No variables. Words worth knowing. That looks like a good abbreviation. Words worth knowing. Bet you could sell your book when we get it done this year. You know? Sell it to somebody that thinks regular math books are hard to read. Make it nice enough. Put it out there. All right, let's go get ready for our number 2, huh? Number 2. time, you've got 3. Parentheses, 5x minus 4 equals 8x plus 2. If you know what you're doing, just have at it. Yep. Because it's that first tab. Says look at the equation. Are there any grouping symbols? Yes. So underneath the yes tab it says use the distributive property. And I think you already knew that, didn't you? Use the distributive property. Just keep on going. You know what to do with these.
What'd you get? What'd you get on? I got 2.
I like that though.
I know. I just keep looking.
I like that, like an ideas book if nothing else.
I know, exactly. Oh, you're probably way ahead of us. We'll subtract 8x from both sides because that has the fewest. So 7x minus 12 equals 2. What do you call this right here, this term? What kind of a term is it? Constant. Add 12, add 12, they undo each other. 7x equals 14. Divide by 7. Got x equals 2, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's knock it out. Okay, how about this one?
I can do these better.
This one might be a little easier, but it just makes up a point. Just adds one more step, an easy step.
All good, Shane? All good?
Yeah. Pretty sure that's right.
So, you're using your tabs. You know, there's not any grouping symbols. Don't have any of those. We move on down. Are there like terms on the left side?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of them. X, 8x, 2x, remember? That's a 1x. And you know that's 1x, but some reason your brain's a whole lot happier when it actually physically sees that 1 right there. I don't know why. It just processes better. How many x's are over there on the left? Yep, 11 x's. Equals 6 minus 50. There's like terms.
44.
Negative 44, right?
44.
Negative 44. And then divide by the 11. And hot diggity dog. We got another one done, right? You got room for one more? That's about it though, isn't it? About one more.
Well, there, 6 is okay, right? It's 6 minus 50, right? Gives you what?
Here's the one more for page 15. Two-thirds A plus 1 equals 11.
Make sense?
Two-thirds A plus 1 equals 11. Now, just calm down, everybody. Don't worry about that fraction.
My apologies.
Do you have any parentheses?
No.
No. Do you have like terms on the same side? No. Do you have variables that need to be moved? Do you have constants that need moved?
Yes.
Okay, subtract 1 from both sides, and that's a start, so look a little bit better. Subtracting 1 from both sides, and after a while, a lot of this stuff you don't write out anymore, you just do it, right? Two-thirds A equals 10. How many of you see two-thirds? How many of you see two-thirds times A in the problem? You think you see two-thirds? Two-thirds A, And you can. If you're not afraid of the fractions, that's okay if you see two-thirds times A. Some people see this. Because that A is really A over 1, right? So see, the 2A are in the numerators, and the 3 times 1 is the denominators. So we'll give you lots of ways to do this, and then you just pick whichever one makes the most sense to you. Do you see two-thirds now, or do you see a divide by 3? Does anybody see divide by 3? Do you? If you don't, I'll show you. Do you see? Look. Divide by 3. How do you undo dividing by 3?
Multiplication.
Multiply by 3.
2A equals 30.
So divide by 3 undoes multiply by 3. Here's 2A. We can write this again. We'll erase it and write it out nice in your book. 10 times 3 is 30. And I know you know how to finish. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So A is 15. And that wasn't so bad. See? Anybody lightheaded, breathing hard? Did the fraction make you sick, or you do it okay?
Why wouldn't you just do 10 divided by 2/3?
We can do that.
That's what I do.
Okay? That's okay too. I'm going to erase it and do it that way. But we're not going to use that silly calculator. And some of you don't like to do fractions without your calculator. But that's okay, we can. We certainly can. So you still want to get rid of the 1. And so now let's go back and start all over again. 2/3 A equals 10. And if you see times 2/3, that's okay. How do you undo multiplying by 2/3? What'd you say? What'd you say? Can't you just divide by 2/3? So here, we'll divide by 2/3. Divide by 2/3. Here's the multiply by 2/3. Here's the divide by 2/3. Here's just A. But now we are going to answer that without a calculator. And then decimals, 2/3 doesn't put 6, it repeats. There is no little repeat bar on a calculator either. So look what it says. It says 10 divided by 2/3. Okay? In elementary school, you learn that to divide fractions, you change it to multiply, and you turn this over to its reciprocal. Now, there's nobody in this room that needs a calculator to do 10 times 3. And you certainly don't need a calculator to do 1 times 2. And 30 divided by 2 is the same it was in the last time we worked it. That our A equals 15. It depends on how you see it. You know those, what they call those pictures, those optical illusions, where somebody looks at it, they see the old lady, and some people see it, the young lady in the dress. You know, it's just whether you see up here divide by 3, or you see times 2/3. You just undo it. Okay, let's get you a good number 4. Do you have a good 4 finish that you can follow? Alright, now you're just going to practice a few of these. Okay? If you want your book out to help you, okay, but your problems run another little worksheet. And that's what we've got to get finished next.
I don't
got six
I
of
don't
them.
mind doing this stuff. This stuff's easy compared to what we just did. I suck at bar graphs.
Oh, wait for a
Graphs
minute.
right now.
Let's get some of these done first and then you can.
Biochemistry. What? Biochemistry. I don't have to do science this year or next year. I got my advanced
need
science
something
grade
to
done
say.
last year.
Is this our homework?
Yes, I am lucky, thank you.
Well, for class preparation. You guys are done too.
No. I already sorted it out.
That's right, those two, the top two, you cut them together if they're lined up good. Just cut them. Probably. Catch that, the typo. Yeah, let's just,
I don't mean physically, I mean mathematically.
You just wanna scribble out number 2?
you know, I just never even caught that. No, just scribble out one of the equal signs. You don't need to make it negative. And number 2, just scribble out one of those equal signs.
Okay. What'd you say?
So that it's a positive 5, so it's negative 12 equals 5 minus 6n plus 11.
Am I allowed to get a decimal for number 2?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, instead of, and don't even, no, don't, you can do that, but here's even faster. If that, I wish we would have had one of those together. Just leave it like that, just leave it that n equals negative 27 over 6.
Oh.
Don't even waste your time with that, okay?
Okay.
You do not need to turn those fractions to decimals. Can if you want, but it's extra work on your part. Just leave them as the fractions right off your paper. Okay, well, let's follow this. You have your grouping symbols. Okay. Look at each side. Are there right turns? Over here. Okay, put them together. All right.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, use these. Take this right here.
Yeah. So let's get rid of this one.
What would you bring over
Yes, that's the best scribble out, maybe that's what the plus sign there. That make sense? Yeah. Scribe.
Just the two.
It's gotta be a negative, right? Negative 2a.
You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
I'll be right there next, hold on, I don't know
Was it a negative 28 or negative 6? Negative divided by negative.
20 plus 2d equals 14, yes, that's a good place. That's just
Negative
a good place.
'Cause
So you already,
there's no solution to the concept.
yeah, they're like
Two right.
so you did that. Are there variables on this side? You have a constant. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, get rid of this constant. The opposite
Jewish
side,
confused.
positive minus or adding to.
I'm trying to think of
Negative
an explanation.
Number-
You guys got.
Yeah, no, just go back to
No.
the.
What?
But wait, fractional, no, it's not, definitely not. But you got, you get negative 12 equals 16 minus 6n, right? And then you subtracted 16 from both sides.
So what do you want?
Not necessarily
Negative 12, negative 12. So I got.
Don't like this one, because that one is positive. Or unless there's a positive.
Go away.
Oh, yeah.
4 point what?
What do you know?
And
I got negative 10.
No parentheses.
what is it?
Add.
4 point.
Like terms on the left.
Can tell, yeah.
Like terms on the right.
Close in it. Those are better.
Toby, that's the look at help.
What?
Is that the look at help take place?
Yeah,
Then,
also,
Either just to get out or
it
you want
says,
to.
now you have constant added subtracted on both sides. Yep, so we set that a
First
constant.
period this morning.
And it says if you do, put it down, choose the constant that's on the same side as the variable.
We'll
So
do that.
choose which one to get rid of. Positive, yeah.
Well, if you get a note from her saying that she didn't let you out, then I'll.
Negative 12.
No, you minus
Negative
20.
Otherwise.
20 by 20.
Turn in the grade.
Oh, yeah, she will. I have to-
I mean, minus
You
14 by
have to
20.
be responsible for being there and shouldn't be there.
Why? I didn't get.
You doing okay?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
You
do it.
can send me an email, verify it, and then I'll take it.
There it was. Yeah, you didn't look
What's number 2?
Is it about 4? Okay. So this is the
Right there.
And so variable, number. So, I can see this. No variable. Are there like terms on the left side? No, like the variable left over. Are there like terms on the right side? Do you have variables on both sides? No. Do you have a constant? Yes. These are each constant. So, it says if you do, then choose the constant on the same side as the variable, get rid of that. And you add 6, and you subtract 6, which is adding 6.
Oh my God.
So now you have W over 9 equals 7 9 plus 6.
16.
Well, that's 6 and 7 9. 6 Alright, then all we're left with is, does your variable have a coefficient other than 1?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so I think of that as a divided.
You alright?
I'm so tired of like.
No, it's like the Black Ops 3 beta is done.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it ended yesterday. I didn't get to play my
What's
stuff
that?
anymore.
Let me probably.
So sad.
Okay, now you gotta fill that out, remember, you only go twice a night.
I managed to borrow the new Gears of War from my brother
Twice a
though,
night.
so I decided to play that
Only
instead.
week 3.
When does Black Ops 3 come out? In 2
We're
months?
over here to turn, but I'll be back over there right now.
Yeah.
Well, that ain't bad of a wait. That ain't bad. But the new Destiny DLC comes out here in a few weeks. Probably in 2 weeks.
One more weekly reset.
What?
One more weekly reset.
I still have to pre-order it to get that done. Because I want to play it before February 1st. Because if you do, you get VIP rewards for like being a year one player. You get a special shader, special speeder, special ship, everything. Cool.
Yeah, negative.
Time to go. Yeah, Shay, I think it's kind of sad I can do this, it's better I can do grass. I don't think that's a good thing. Or did you enjoy Black Ops all out?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the guns are way too accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like guns that shouldn't be accurate were accurate.
Yeah.
That will work. Now let me show
So
you
is this
how to
homework?
go with that. For this calculator.
Wait, is that the horn?
Yep.
I already got it done.
Okay. And these, is that a graphing calculator?
That's some easy homework.
Too hard, well, that's okay, because I was gonna say, it's too hard to get to the fraction function out of it. So if that's the case, where you realize you need to take 6 and 7 times 9, here's what you did in elementary. 9 times 6. 9 times 6 is 54. 54 plus 7 is 61 over 9. Times 9
Hey, what's the
over
homecoming
1.
theme this year?
There's a divide by 9.
For us, it's luau.
Here's what I
Tiki.
think is a
Tiki luau.
I don't know how to dress up for that.
You know those grass skirts?
Oh god.
And
What the?
coconuts. And tiki mat.
I don't think they're gonna allow us to actually, for girls to actually wear coconut bras. What? Coconut shirt?
No, they actual coconuts. Over the shirt. Yeah.
I'm thinking about going to homecoming, to be honest.
So that's what in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
Fraction problems that you've done pretty soon. You're not gonna mess with them. You're just gonna get rid of them, you're getting as fast as you can, you're gonna.
Reminds me of a candy cane for some reason.
Yep.
Wait, what's it called? Cool blast? Yeah, I can feel the coldness. It actually feels cold. Too. Who was your 7th grade science teacher? I had Mr. I forget his name.
Mrs. Gutenberg.
I don't remember my guy. He was like the only.
Mrs. Gutenberg was amazing.
My guy, he brought in dried ice. He needed to touch it. Like only with gloves though. I touched it without gloves to see what happened. It burned.
It's like the broccoli.
You look like cereal. You like cereal. Yeah, you just gotta inhale.
It kind of is. That's my own hand. wash my own hand. Don't use my spot, but I did.
I will take it because she said that maybe we'll round that her off and tell you how, if she can prove that to me, then I'm happy to allow you.
Don't even talk to me.
You'll know.
You're gonna tell me that I don't care.
Or I'll try and get over to one or the other.
Oh, once you've checked your own, and if you don't understand it, then you just use that as to, well, and it's this one, and this one, and this one, and I don't know what. Then talk to one of us, and we'll help you get those answers.
Okay.
But when you're done with that answer sheet, like this photocopy, just toss it off to them, back there. Toss it on the desk, and we'll.
What I was saying to you earlier is because that square is on there, doesn't that mean that even if I put a negative number in there, it's going to be positive anyway?
That's right, so that's why, so for your domain, you can use anything.
Right. Not
So,
for
yeah,
your
the
range.
domain, but the range, the output, by the time then that you're done, since it was made positive, like you say, no matter what, it's gonna turn positive underneath.
Okay.
And so then that allows you to come up with the range, but by the time then you do that square root, yeah, and you can't, some will try to cancel this to, oh, this gets weird.
No, that's because I was going there and that's
I'm gonna hand it back to you today. I'm gonna grade this one, but I'm gonna hand it back to you.
not for you. Not way too loud. I wasn't talking to you.
If the music's too loud, you're too old. That's what everybody tells me. If you think
People are
the
looking at
music's
us
too
there,
loud,
man.
you're too old.
You're a funny guy. I like this box. I really like this.
I know.
This is always what the face sounds.
So how do you use it though? How do you think that?
I'm not sure just at first glance, but I just thought we're dealing with a whole generation. I know.
I tried to drink 3 milks at a
Oh, no, right, yeah, I'm used to this in contact or that I like to calculator to do something like that. It's just so automatic, right? But here, in elementary teachers, not
I got bronchitis.
why you learn how I was saying earlier, you have to know when you're giving or even like you have something to do. Oh yeah, I forget about it. Unity, that's just so much paper practice, and you gotta know that whole cancel thing.
There's a way for this to work.
Oh, we'll make it work. We're gonna try to,
Jill, you get out there and do the button.
I know, and that's what me, that's why like the technology is such a weak people show it to me, or they just do it, they just do this. I can't remember. Maybe.